Ask most people what protects their kidneys, and you'll hear the same two answers every time. Drink more water, cut back on salt. Both true, both useful, and both only part of the picture. What almost nobody mentions is what happens after you fall asleep, because your kidneys do some of their most important recovery work overnight, and what you eat in the last hour before bed can either support that process or work against it. My name is Dr. Lawson. As always, I want to be upfront. I'm an AI-assisted educational persona, not a replacement for your own doctor. Everything here is general information to help you have better conversations at your next appointment, not a diagnosis or a treatment plan. Tonight, I want to walk you through the fruits that genuinely support kidney health when eaten in the evening, including one that surprises almost everyone, and one that comes with a real caveat I want to be completely honest with you about. Tell me in the comments how old you are. I read everyone, and I want to know who's watching tonight. Here's the background that makes the rest of this make sense. In a healthy body, blood pressure naturally dips somewhere between 10 and 20% overnight. Researchers call this nocturnal dipping, and it's believed to give the kidney's filtering structures, called nephrons, a period of reduced pressure to recover. Some research suggests people whose blood pressure doesn't dip at night may see kidney function decline somewhat faster over time, though more research is still needed on the full picture. Two things are generally understood to put strain on those filters over the years: sustained high blood pressure and oxidative stress, a kind of slow cellular wear, similar to how a cut apple browns on the counter. Foods rich in antioxidants and compounds that support healthy blood vessels are commonly discussed as helpful for this overnight recovery window, which is exactly why the timing and choice of an evening snack can matter. First, blueberries. Their deep color comes from anthocyanins, among the most studied antioxidant compounds in food, and research has associated diets rich in them with lower inflammation markers and healthier blood vessel function. Blueberries are also naturally low in both potassium and sodium, which is one reason they're often mentioned as a gentle choice for the evening. About half a cup before bed is a reasonable portion. Frozen works just as well as fresh. Second, and this one surprises people, tart cherries. Unlike sweet cherries, tart cherries have been studied for their potential to help lower uric acid levels, relevant because elevated uric acid is associated with kidney stones and, over time, with kidney strain. Tart cherries are also naturally one of the richer food sources of melatonin, the same compound involved in sleep regulation, which ties back to that nighttime blood pressure dip we just talked about. Unsweetened dried tart cherries, or a small splash of unsweetened tart cherry juice diluted with water, about an hour before bed, is the way to go. Skip anything labeled as a cherry cocktail or juice blend, since that's mostly added sugar. Third, apples, and this one works through a side door, your digestive system. Apples are rich in a soluble fiber called pectin, which feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and there's a growing area of research, sometimes called the gut-kidney axis, looking at how gut inflammation may place additional burden on kidney filtering over time. Eat the apple with the skin on if you can. That's where a beneficial antioxidant called quercetin is concentrated. A medium apple, sliced with a dusting of cinnamon, about an hour before bed is a simple way to include this one. Before I go further, I want to draw a clear line. These fruits are commonly discussed as supportive for general kidney wellness. They are not a treatment for existing kidney disease. If you notice swelling in your legs or around your eyes, foamy or bloody urine, a significant drop in how much you're urinating, or pain in your lower back or sides, that's worth a prompt conversation with your doctor, not something to address with diet alone. If this is the first time someone's actually walked you through the why behind kidney-friendly eating instead of just drink water, cut salt, this is a good moment to subscribe. Because the next fruit on this list comes with a genuine warning most people never hear clearly explained. Fourth, strawberries. Like blueberries, they're rich in antioxidants, including vitamin C and ellagic acid, and they're mostly water and fiber with relatively little sugar, making them one of the lighter options for an evening snack. About half a cup to a cup sliced on their own or with a spoon of plain yogurt works well. And now the one I want to be completely honest with you about: citrus. Oranges and their relatives are rich in citrate, a compound that helps prevent calcium from crystallizing into kidney stones in the urine, genuinely protective for many people. But citrus is also relatively high in potassium. For healthy kidneys, that's not typically a concern, since they clear the excess efficiently. But for someone with an existing kidney disease diagnosis, or who's on a medication that affects potassium levels, high potassium fruit can be a real problem, because those kidneys may not clear it as efficiently. Here's the simple rule. If you have a kidney disease diagnosis or take a medication that affects potassium, check with your own doctor before adding citrus or any high potassium fruit to your evening routine. For most people watching without that history, citrus in moderation is a reasonable choice. But your own blood work is what actually answers that question, not a video. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Walter. Walter is 68, retired, and had always assumed kidney concerns happened to people who didn't take care of themselves. A routine blood panel showed his numbers had started drifting in a direction worth watching. We didn't start with dramatic changes. We started with his evenings. Walter's nightly habit was salted crackers in front of the television. We swapped that for blueberries some nights, sliced apple with cinnamon on others, and added a short walk after dinner. A year later, at his next check-in, his numbers had held steady, not improved dramatically, but stopped drifting, which for kidney health is genuinely meaningful, since these filters don't regenerate once lost. The point isn't a miracle fix. It's that small, consistent evening choices add up. Here's what I'd suggest trying tonight. Pick one fruit from this list. Blueberries and apple are the simplest starting points, and make it your evening snack instead of something salty or processed, about an hour before bed. That's it. Small, repeatable, and it doesn't require an overhaul of anything else you're doing. If you found this useful, type the word evening in the comments so I know you made it this far. None of this replaces your doctor, your blood work, or your prescribed treatment if you have one. But for most people, a thoughtful evening fruit choice is a small, low-risk habit worth considering. If this helped make sense of something you've been quietly wondering about, subscribe for more of these breakdowns, and I'll see you in the next one.